Right. That's good. Right. At all. Oh. Hello. Mm. So greetings. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Okay, jolly good. If you want to speak, you just unmute yourself and introduce yourself. So welcome. Greetings. It's an unusual experiment we're going to be doing, but with the God's help, it's going to work.
It will work out somehow.
I hope so. And so we're celebrating midsummer. I mean, that is the moment of sunset. It's just happened now. This is the shortest night of the year we're going into, and then the longest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a sacred time for not just Druids and pagans, but for all cultures. I think the Zoroastrians make a big fuss about this date, also the spring equinox. I did invite a senior Zoroastrian to join us, but he hasn't managed to get in touch yet. So anyway, greetings to people that are here. We're going to go straight into Sophie's ceremony because timing is quite short. We've got speakers lined up. And I see our friend Shlomo is here from Israel. Greetings, Shlomo. I can see you looking like a Zen monk, but I'm assuming there's a person there. And Barty, you're there in India. Right, greetings. God knows what time it is there. Do you want to unmute yourself and say hello? Okay, no, we're not being able to do that. That doesn't matter. So look, okay, welcome to everyone. Sophie, you're sitting there looking like a princess. And I'm really looking forward to your ceremony now. So,
thank you.
my daughter, my middle daughter, Sophia Craig-Daffern, she lives in Briton, in Kemptown, which is part of the world I grew up in. When we left Canada, my family moved to Brighton. And then Sophie ended up living there. She's living in a place called Sussex Square, which is a very beautiful old Georgian part of Brighton, for those that know it. And did her degree at the university in Brighton, a city I know and love well. It's my other favorite city apart from all the others. And did performing arts. So Sophie is an expert in art and has got very deeply in spirituality. So it's a great honor that she's able to join us. She's been working with a theatre group. And it's going to take us through a sort of a ritual, a ceremony to celebrate this sacred time, which will be, all tradition. Shlomo, I see you've joined us. You've taken your picture down, so welcome, sir. You're going to be speaking a bit later, and we're looking forward to that. Right, Sophie, I think you need to unmute yourself. It's something you have to do, I can't do, I think. I've asked to unmute. Yeah. And Zoom is a wonderful technology, but it's also a kind of learning curve. Right. Excellent. So greetings, everyone. And over to you, Sophie.
Lovely. Hello. So I just wanted to kind of welcome you and just have the space to just really arrive in this beautiful energy shifting portal that we find ourselves in. So let me do that. Welcome. And if you'd like to join me, I'm going to welcome in the directions. I usually stand up, but we can sit down if you like. It's up to you, whatever's more comfortable. I may still stand, just because I prefer it. We welcome in the north, our Mother Earth beneath our feet. On this sacred land, we stand and greet each other in a place of love. She holds space for us, no matter how we are. She will always embrace us with her love. We see a green mist appear above the standing stones as we welcome in the guardians of the north. Welcome. And we welcome in the guardians of the east. It is the air between our fingers, it's the whispers on the wind. It is our communication that may seem a bit difficult as Mercury has just moved into retrograde. But it is also our breath, our shared breath of life that enables us to keep believing in ourselves and sharing our truth. We see a yellow mist appear above the standing stones as we welcome in the guardians of the east. Welcome. And we welcome in the guardians of the south. They are our fire, our passion, the glorious sun that we are celebrating over this weekend. The life force energy, it's our strength to grow. It is the light we hold inside our hearts. We welcome in the guardians of the south as a red mist appears above the standing stones. Welcome. And we welcome in the guardians of the west, our deep emotional side, our connection with the moon. It is the tears that gently fall across our face, that trickle into a river, that then meanders its way to the sea. It's all of the suffering that we feel, but that we're able to cleanse with the tears that enable us to grow again. We thank you, O waters of the West, for helping us to find our truth. We see a blue mist appear above the standing stones as we welcome in the guardians of the West. Welcome. And we welcome in the goddess, who is alive with all the beauty that surrounds us. Her hair is adorned with summer flowers, and butterflies follow her as she walks. She is creation itself. She is the womb of existence. Thank you for holding this space with us. We honor you. We are you. Welcome. And we welcome in the horned god, who to me is a beautiful white stag. You can hear him in the whispers of the trees. You can feel his presence in the steps through the woodland. It's that breath of life that smells like moss and damp leaves just after the rain. Divine masculine energy, we welcome you and we're grateful to you. Welcome. And we welcome in that betwixt the two. It's our yin yang, it's the motion that moves the black through the white and back again. It's that moment we decide to share our inner world with the outer world. And it's the way in which we can make a difference when we shed light on those areas that need it. Welcome. So, for me, this whole journey has been it's kind of enabled me to find a rhythm or a sense of understanding that I didn't necessarily have before. And the thing that's come out most from this whole lockdown, isolation, is love. For me, it's been love for a very long time now. I had this amazing experience. I did the pilgrimage for the planets. I walked the earth, saw the earth with Extinction Rebellion, and it was my awakening. It was my kind of shamanic journey. I did it basically in barefoot. And we collected water all along the way from sacred springs and stuff to then feed to the Thames. And it felt like all of these energies from everywhere, we were all like rivers trickling to like the center point, which was London in Marble Arch. And it felt like a really powerful energy uprising, like we were all kind of like bringing this energy that was needed. And we also, like, by the time we reached London, we had drums and stuff, so that then rippled across the land. So for me, it was such an amazing experience, but it made me realize those are the kind of shifts we need to be able to make the future we want to see. And so their logo is like an hourglass, as in time is running out. But obviously, being a Druid, I, tipped it on its side and I was like, oh, it's Degas, it's a breakthrough, it's a transformation. And so I had this kind of symbolic, understanding from my own consciousness of how these symbols can really resonate and touch our hearts. And I then, in my mind's eye, when I was meditating, it shifted and the two triangles kind of melded to one, and they created the heart chakra. So I realized that, yeah, it is as above, so below, but when you come together and you live through your heart, it really does completely transform and change the world, So this, to me, that's basically how I felt from this whole experience. As much as people are dying, and oh my gosh, of course, I'm not just living in a bubble of love, but I'm seeing the positives that are coming from all of this transformation. And it really, I don't know, it's kind of woken me up to another way of looking at the pain and the struggles. So I thought it would be really lovely to take you on a little journey through sound, but I've also prepared a song. I mean, if you wanted to do some singing to kind of really bring us back into our hearts and in our place of love, for me it really helps to resonate. But I don't know how you guys are feeling. Do you want, yeah.
We can give it a whirl, Sophie, but we probably won't unmute everybody's microphone because the sound probably...
No, that's fine. Basically what I'll do is I'll loop it up with the looper, so you can hear all the different parts, and you can, whatever resonates with you, you can sing along to. So it'll be like a mantra that just keeps building.
Okay, so you do it, and then we'll join in our own...
yeah. Do you have the words? Did you manage to put them in the chat?
Not yet.
simple.
Bear with me.
Cushion. Hold on, I need to unclick myself. Yeah, they're quite simple. This is a song that came on the pilgrimage. So when we were walking, we were singing the whole way along, and we realised we were the canaries that they sent down the mines when, you know, they always used to send birds first to check if they were okay to be in. Or so anyway, we kept ourselves going with singing, and this was one of the songs that it came. So I just thought it was important to share it because it's just a really beautiful connection song.
I'm sure they'll pick it up. The words are very famous. They probably all know it anyway.
Okay, fine. Ooh, sorry, too many things. Let me just have some water. Right. And to her we shall return, all rain flowing to the ocean. We are one with waters, and to her we shall return like joy of rain flowing to the ocean. Hoof and horn, hoof and horn, what must I will be reborn? Pale and grey, pale and grey, what will I live again? All things are connected. All things are connected. All things are connected. All things are connected. All things share the same breath. All things share the same breath. All things share the same breath. All things share the same breath.
things share the same breath. All things share the same breath. All things share the same breath. All things share the same breath. Every part of the earth is sacred to my people. Every part of the earth is sacred to my people. Every part of the earth is sacred to my people. Every part of the earth is sacred to my people. This we know, the earth does not belong to us. This we know, the earth does not belong to us. This we know, the earth does not belong to us. This we know, the earth does not belong to us. If the beast will die, would die from a great loneliness of spirit. If the beast will die, would die from a great loneliness of spirit. If the beast will die, would die from a great loneliness of spirit. If the beast will die, the beast will die, spirit. I was aware of the time. I'm sorry. Is it? How long do I have, Daddy?
Well, you've got till 10 o'clock, so, you know, but you can go over a bit longer. So you can do your
Okay.
journey. You've got the time for the
Yes.
journey.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, get yourself comfortable, and I'm going to take you on a little journey. So yeah, get a blanket or anything you need to make yourself in a comfortable place. And when you're ready, close your eyes. And just breathe. Such a powerful thing just to breathe, full breath, especially when you're sitting under a tree, because you can really tune in to the energy and the smells all around you. You're sitting on the grass. You think someone in the distance has just cut theirs, because you can smell the beautiful smell of summer. You hear a little bee buzzing busily behind you. The hum is the frequency of Om that sends you to a place of stillness inside yourself. You look over to see, and he's kissing a little buttercup as they sway in the gentle breeze. A little butterfly flies past the bee and takes your focus towards the distance, where you see the silhouette of a stag on the horizon. You pick yourself up, intending to follow him. The grass beneath your bare feet is cool and refreshing. You decide to run towards him, and he doesn't even flinch. As you approach, he bows his head gracefully to receive you, and you do the same.
Your sound is breaking up, Sophie.
What do I
Can you hear
do?
me?
I can hear you, yeah. I don't know what to do. What do I do? I haven't done anything.
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Okay. Should I just carry on? Yeah? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry.
I can hear you here as well.
Okay.
So I don't know, we seem to have lost Sophie.
Oh,
Can other people still hear me?
I can, yeah. Maybe leave and come in again. That's usually what, if it needs a boost. It sounds like your thing, your Zoom, maybe.
I think Thomas is all right because everyone else seems to be on. I can't see Thomas.
Oh. Yeah, Daddy's frozen. I think if Daddy leaves and comes back again, it will fix it. I can hear you though, Dan.
I think Thomas is gone. But you're fine.
He's gone. Okay. I'll give it a mo. I might have a swig of tea.
Ah. In the chat, he's asking if we can hear you, and I can. So.
Okay, yeah. Daddy. Oh. Is he back?
The picture's frozen. So
Yeah.
he's in
Yeah,
the,
all I've got, that's all I've got as well. Yeah. Sorry guys, it's Mercury doing his thing.
was enjoying it.
Should I just go back to? Oh.
Yeah, I think everyone else can hear you.
Okay, so should I just carry on and Daddy will have his, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Right. Okay. You're standing with your stag on the horizon, and you've vowed to greet each other. Then he turns majestically and beckons for you to follow him. You move down across a rocky incline. You can smell moisture in the air. Water tickles your cheeks. You turn and you see a beautiful lagoon shimmering in the evening light. A waterfall tickles the surface of the water and ripples rainbows across the sky. The sun is setting on the horizon, but you also see a reflection of the full moon inside the lagoon. It's a feast for your eyes and senses. You can't believe you see the divine masculine with the divine feminine together in one night. You know this must be special. You decide to leave the water and go and catch the last of the sunset. You make your way up again towards the grass, and the ground beneath your feet feels different. It feels ancient, sacred. You know you've walked this path before, long ago. As you move, distant drumming beats to the pulse of your heart, and it drives you forward as you follow the footsteps of your ancestors. The drumming gets louder as you realize you're surrounded by stones. They're cool to touch. The moss tickles your fingertips. You can feel the energy of all the humans that have passed this way before. And you know that you have come with purpose to create a new portal into peace. You're surrounded by your ancestors and fellow humans alike, all with shared hearts and shared experience, working towards a world we want to see. The stones are singing to you. It's a sound you've only heard in your dreams.
Right, so greetings. Thank you, Sophie. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Unfortunately, my sound cut out towards the end of that, but I will be able to hear it because we are recording it, so I won't miss out. But I hope everyone had a good journey. So thank you very much, and I'm pleased. Right, can we move on, because time is kind of pressing and we have another speaker lined up here. And I think you're speaking from Holland. This is Frigga Asraf. So I noticed, Frigga, that during her talk, my daughter Sophie mentioned the runes. She, like me, has acquired an interest in the runes. I've been studying them, teaching them for years, as a follower of, comparative spirituality. And she mentioned the rune dagger as being like the Extinction Rebellion logo, and then likened that to the heart chakra. So anyway, Sophie, I think we're fortunate because Frigga Asraf is an expert in the Norse runic traditions and has set up a group dealing with peace from that perspective, called the Flames of Friith. Friith is the word for peace in some of the old Norse languages. In Anglo-Saxon, it was the word for peace, Friith. And the Frith Guard, I think, was the name of the local militia, which King Alfred the Great had to call out. So there's a very interesting, history of what is peace in ancient Germanic, Norse, Anglo-Saxon spirituality, which was definitely connected to their spiritual belief systems, which are embodied in the runes. So anyway, without more ado, Frigga, please introduce yourself to the group, and the floor is yours. Unmute yourself.
Thank you. I'm Frigga Asraf. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm founder of the Flame of Friith. First, I would like to thank the online Stonehenge Midsummer Peace Festival for inviting the Flame of Friith. Although the reason is sad, it is great to see more online gatherings and rituals. Not only because it is very accessible for people with disabilities and chronic illnesses, or people with very little money. Online offers opportunities to meet more often and work together with people from all over the world for peace and our planet. The mainstream media hardly informs us about so many lovely, often local projects of people living and working for nature, like nature-inclusive farming, or people in cities lifting tiles to make wall gardens. When also using the possibilities of the internet for gatherings and rituals, we could work together even more strongly and keep one another better informed and be a loving inspiration and empowerment to one another. Imagine shortly before each of the main festivals, 24 hours of peace weaving with talks, music and rituals, like we are doing now. We know peace weaving to be a concept, an old concept in Europe. The goddess Frigga is called peace weaver, as well as the god Frey. Now more than ever, peace weaving is needed, and we could use all the help from peace weavers of old and the ones dedicated to peace today. The story of the Flame of Friith is about peace weaving and originated a year or so ago as a Germanic heathen initiative for peace. From the beginning onwards, it has been an invitation to heathens and pagans to work hand in hand to weave peace, safety, solidarity, and sustainability, and welcomes people from the many other religions, traditions, and worldviews on this fine earth. One of the aims is to bring people together in harmony, even though it might be for the short moment of a ritual. I guess the most powerful symbol of the Flame of Friith is the Friith cord, for it is a concrete reminder of Friith, of peace, of love and connection of community. Pieces of the cord found its way to many heathens and pagans in Europe, and even further to Canada, New Zealand, and the USA. Many of us love stories and are aware of their powers and the effect they could have. A remark about stories made by the English environmental and political activist George Monbiot in his book Out of the Wreckage caught me. When we develop the right story and learn how to tell it, it will affect the minds of people across the political spectrum. Those who tell the stories run the world. To me, Flame of Friith is such a story, a narrative how we could commit ourselves to peace and our planet. The power of repetition is well known, for better and for worse, and this certainly applies to narratives. So the more often we tell each other our stories, what kind of world we want to live in, tell about freedom, joy, kindness, tell about trust and well-being, the more we feed powers of peace for the earth itself and all living beings. In this and other ways, the more effect we will have, as I do believe in magic. Although the sources hardly tell us anything about Friith, it is a word that resonates to many Germanic heathens today. I guess it became a heathen concept to express Germanic heathendom to be a peaceful religion for the majority of Germanic heathens. For those not familiar with the word, the meaning of related words in all Germanic languages are safe conduct, good understanding, peace, calm, joy, and well-being. Friith is also related to the word free. All this brings me to the conclusion, Friith means how I would like life to be, living safe and free in harmony with nature and all living beings on a healthy and thriving planet. Which brings me to the question, can we speak of peace as long as the earth is suffering? I realize I speak from a privileged situation, not only being born and raised in a country as the Netherlands, but also being white. Why do we hate is also a question that has been on my mind a lot lately. Is hate part of our genetic blueprint, or did it originate from education? People are capable of so much. Love, empathy, and coordination, but we also have a great ability to treat each other with hatred, cruelty, and violence. I still want to believe the majority of people are good people, although the present times make it hard not to lose faith for me. The narrative of the toxic ideology of neoliberalism and capitalism has been told too often for too long. A narrative of greed, ignorance, and individualism as it is. There are plenty of other stories which tell something entirely different, as the Dutch historian and writer Rutger Bregman does in his books, like Humankind, A Hopeful History, and the narratives we will hear from each other this 24 hours of midsummer peace. To me, one cannot speak about peace without mentioning global warming and the climate crisis we are in. We need to look at the methods that enable the destruction of the planet. We need to look at many aspects of the lifestyle of part of humankind and do not forget the effects it has on so many other people, like in the global south. Climate justice and social justice and racial justice need to go hand in hand. To speak with Matan Patak, it is vaguely permissible to discuss colonialism in the area of the environment. People shrink and avert their eyes when racism is mentioned. And yet, colonialism is simply the commercial manifestation of racism, built on the very same abhorrent values. This all could sound rather overwhelming and might be a reason for people to turn away. Not everybody is an activist and eager to be part of an uprising. As with other things, here too, we need a wide range of initiatives to reach as many people as possible. In a loving way, we need to relearn ourselves and others that feeling uncomfortable is part of life, and it's time to look it in the eye again. May we embrace the love of multicultural peace and non-violence. For me, climate activism and working for peace are inextricably linked. My physical condition withhold me too often, and during the corona crisis even more, from participating in climate actions outdoors with Extinction Rebellion, which frustrates me a lot, and yet it forces me to focus on the Flame of Friith. Thinking about this festival and what I would like to talk about, a vision came to mind. A vision the Flame of Friith and Friith Keeper showed me some years ago. I saw the planet from a distance, and all over the surface there were little dancing lights. Peace fires, I was told, for many groups and individuals. I saw frieze weavers weaving threads between all these sacred fires, and it became a huge web of peace around the world. They told me how in this way, even if we do not know one another, all kinds of peace initiatives are connected and empower each other. Friith spirits told me we can help them to keep this web healthy and resilient every time we feed the Flame of Friith, every time we fuel peace and peace fires, or lit a Friith candle, or even imagine to do so. Next, the Flame of Friith invited me to step into her flames and told me I could fuel her also with my burdens, with my concerns and fears and feelings of anxiety, loss, grief. All I had to do was imagine them to flow into the flames. The Flame of Friith asked me to tell other people they are welcome to do so as well, and explain to me it would make her burn even more brightly, and that her magic would transform all troubles into flames, and the flames would transform into smoke, smoke of love and laughter, smoke of care and calmness, smoke of perseverance and peace of mind, smoke of warmth and well-being, or anything else we need. How winds would whirl this healing smoke as an embrace around us. How winds would whirl this loving, frithful smoke around the planet as healing for the earth and all living beings. The Flame of Friith also showed me how to direct hate and violence as fuel to her flames, so she can transform them too with her magic into healing, love, and joy. When the corona crisis also hit our countries, my fellow Friith Keeper, Dan Coltis from the UK, and me started weekly online Flame of Friith healing rituals as a contribution to the Heathen community, and at the same time to the worldwide community we are as humankind. Tomorrow, we will perform our online Flame of Friith healing midsummer celebration, which to us is a reflection of what is going on in the world. I would like to read a small part of this ritual. Holy Hammer, hallow and hold our halls. Holy hammer, hold and hallow in us and around us. Hallow and hold all healers, all frieze weavers, and all peacekeepers in Midgard and the other worlds. Giving earth, grieving earth, breathing land, beaten land, blossoming earth, bleeding earth, dazzling land, dying land. We are weaving a mighty web. We work our way through weft and warp to design a pattern of peace. We tell our tales of times to come. We fuel and feed every voice and every movement, caring for the earth, the living land. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do so. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." Hey Loki, master of the magic mirror, offer us the mirror of our own humanity. Offer us the mirror of our past. Offer us the mirror of our present. Hey Loki, master of the magic mirror, offer us the mirror of white innocence. Offer us the mirror of white privilege. Offer us the mirror of intersectionality. Eliminating institutional racism begins with recognizing it exists. As a frieze weaver, I am working to become more aware of institutional racism. I am working to unravel my own colonial thinking. I am working to become more aware about intersectionality. I strive to be mindful of my white privilege. I want to use my privilege to support people of color. To do so, I will listen to life experiences of people of color. I will ask people of color to allow me to support them in ways that are beneficial for them. I strive to do better in the days going forward. All mothers of the earth, all earth mothers, help us to hear our own heart, to hear the heartbeat of our planet and to listen to her voice. She speaks in many tongues and in many ways directly to our souls and minds. The minds of scientists who tell the truth. To all people who see humankind as part of our planet's ecosystem, in which there is respect and place for all living things and beings. Together, we create a culture which is healthy, resilient, and adaptable. May our work open hearts and minds, and may it build bridges between peoples. Together, we enable everyone's voice. Together, we make compassion, kindness, creativity, generosity, playfulness, and solidarity flourish forever. May our thoughts and deeds be a loving contribution to generations yet to come. Thank you for listening. You are welcome to join the Flame of Friith on Facebook or watch the Flame of Friith on YouTube. I hope to see you in one of our online rituals and someday in real life. It is great meeting you all, and may this festival be 24 hours of peaceful wit and wisdom we weave together to offer the world. Be safe. Thank you.
Right, so greetings. Frigga, thank you so much for your talk. And I hope everyone enjoyed it. There's a lot of wisdom in that tradition that, you know, the indigenous tradition of every culture needs to come out, in my opinion, to find a truly universal peace. It's strange. We have to go to the particular. And if we go into the particular, we actually find that way the universal. So if you study the American Indian teachings on peace, or the Aboriginal Australians, or the Maori, or the, you know, different Arabic or Semitic or Hebrew peoples, you'll find it's always the same thing ultimately. And the same with the Anglo-Saxon, pagan, Norse, Scandinavian tradition. So thank you very much for that perspective. Right, so we're going to move on now. We have our next speaker, who is a colleague speaking from Israel, I think, who was a judge for many years in Israel. He can tell us more about that. Shlomo Soham. And then I went and interviewed you, Shlomo, when I was in Israel for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission for the Middle East some years ago. And I've been trying for years to get peace between Israelis, Palestinians, and all the various people. You know, the mosaic of people that make up the Middle East is so rich and complex. And I think the problem of violence is always binary thinking. We humans are programmed to think either or, you know. No, it's not like that. It's so complex. Palestinian society is very complex. So is Israeli. I mean, there are 12 tribes of Israel. And, you know, they're all different. They all have their narratives and stories. So anyway, Shlomo's been taking a much bigger picture of all this. And he can tell us what his blueprint is for long-term peace thinking. So Shlomo, go for it. Over to you. Welcome.
Welcome everybody. Thank you, Thomas. Unfortunately, I cannot see you, I just hear you. But that's great. I was very touched by Frigga talk. And I want first to welcome 3-4 friends that came that are from Israel now here. Efrat and Ben, good friends of mine. Ravit or God, an amazing, beautiful woman. Osnat, which I cannot see her, but she is here in the room. And I was listening to Sophie and to Frigga, and I felt this resonance. And what I feel now is to begin with making a sound, a resonant sound, just to connect us all, and then we'll go on to the more logical, mental explanation of peace. First, we're talking about interconnectedness. And I see interconnectedness as a resonance all over the world, which is nothing to do with the distance. It's nothing to do with the colors, just one resonance of human beings all over the world. So please, if you can join me and just put your hands on your heart and make a sound from your heart and from your belly, which connects heaven and earth, so we can connect together. And begin to create peace within us. And then this peace will resonate outside. So we'll do it together. And imagine we are making the sound that we are becoming an hollow bamboo, that all our body is clean and energy is coming from the earth to the sky, opening our hearts, opening our love and acceptance to the whole world. Let's do it once more. And now, with your permission, I will share the screen. I'll begin to say a few words on peace, and inner peace. Peace that goes beyond separation of the mind, a peace that goes beyond the thoughts and even beyond the emotion. A solid peace which is within us. There is a story of one of the Jewish sages, Rabbi Akiva, that he was in a storm in the Sea of Galilee. And everybody was sure that he's going to die, drawn into the water. And one of his disciples, students, came out and he saw him healthy and teaching. And he asked him, Rabbi Akiva, how did you manage? And he said, when the ship was broken, I just took one, we call it in Hebrew, duff, one wood. I was holding to this wood, and then I came healthy to the sea. And his disciple asked him, and he was afraid? He was afraid of dying. And he said, for each and every wave I saw, I said, thank you. For each and every wave I saw, I was nodding my head and say, welcome, welcome, welcome. So as the first hint to the inner peace is to accept the waves of life, the waves of the world, the waves we see around. And there is a story of a little wave, young wave, that came to his father and said to him, Father, I'm very afraid. And he asked him, why are you so much afraid? And he said, I see you all waves. You are growing and growing and growing. And at the end, you just broke your head on the sea, on the rocks, and you almost vanished. So I'm afraid it will happen to me as well, said the young wave, the little wave. So his father said unto him, you have to remember all the time your essence. Your essence is the peaceful point of the ocean. Your essence is part of the ocean, part of the all, of the whole, part of all that is there. And when you remember this kind of being part of the whole, when you remember that you are interconnected with everything on this planet and on this cosmos, then you're not afraid of being a wave, or you're not afraid of knocking your head on a rock. So these two stories will take us now to my story. I will ask Thomas, please, as a host, you can allow me to share the screen so I will show you some words. I want to share some PowerPoint. Do you hear me, Thomas?
I don't think he can hear you. I just sent him a message.
Okay. Hopefully. I hope you will hear and then I can share the screen. If not, that's also okay. I will go without the share screen. So what is peace? What is inner peace? And how we can create peace upon earth? And how can peace prevail upon earth? So, if we want to understand what peace means, is to look on the whole cosmos from the point of view of the...
Sorry, Shlomo, I think you can just share your screen yourself if you press the right button.
It's hidden that host disabled participant screen sharing. So you have to say that you allow me to share the screen. If not, we'll manage without it as well. But so if you want to understand okay, I'll go on, Thomas. I just connect inside and connect with you. If we want to understand what peace means, it means, first of all, to go out of the survival stand. It means, first of all, to look on this planet, at this planet, from point of view of the Creator. And everybody can choose, according to his belief, what is his Creator and how he sees Creator. Yet, when we go inside and we connect inside to the Creator, we cannot see any separation. We cannot even talk, like Frigga said before, on colors or non-colors. We don't see the color. We don't see the differences between men and women. There are differences, but we don't see, we see always the equality. We see the way we look at the whole world as one human connection, and a connection which is sustainable connection with the live beings, the animals, with the plants, with the trees, with the rocks. We see the connectedness of the air and fire and the land, Gaia, Mama Gaia, the earth. And the water. When we see this kind of connectedness, we automatically create within ourselves kind of a quantum leap that goes beyond the separation that created by the mind. We easily can develop ourselves from being egocentric, national-centric, to ethnocentric, and become a cosmocentric, which means we are grown up. We feel ourselves as part of the whole. And feeling ourselves as part of the whole is not just by saying it, is by feeling it. Even now, when I'm talking to you and you hear me, the frequency that is there connects us. The frequency is beyond Shlomo or Frigga or Ben or Avid or Snat. The frequency is also scientifically a whole frequency all over the world. And this means being able to look beyond these differences, beyond the distances, beyond what we call race or gender, beyond all these mind creatures that we adapted. Adapted mainly because of fear, adapted mainly because we have this kind of illusion that things in the world are separated. And having this kind of illusion, what we do, we tend to be close to our family, friends, and give them love and get love from them, and think that the whole world is not connected. As Einstein says, our task must be to free ourselves from this prison. This is kind of a prison for us. And to embrace this wonderful, wonderful world. And the more we free ourselves from this prison, the more connected we are automatically to the whole world. And I will tell you another story, which is from one of our sages, that gives a tip or a hint how to create practically on this planet peace. And the story is of a prince that got mad. And he thought that he is a turkey. And he was sitting naked under the table, eating the leftovers. And nobody could heal him. All the doctors, all the specialists, all the healers couldn't heal him. Until one chosin, one disciple, came and said, "Let me, I will heal him." And what he did, he also take off his clothes and was sitting with this prince under the table, naked. The prince asked him, "What are you doing here?" So this guy asked the prince, "What are you doing here?" And then the prince said, "I am a turkey." So this guy said, you know what, I'm a turkey too. And then they were sitting under the table, two turkeys, eating the leftovers, playing their, what we called also in Dutch, in English, mishigas, their craziness. After a while, this guy said to the prince, you know what, we can be turkeys also with our underwear. And they took underwear. And then he said, we can be turkeys with trousers. And they took the trousers. And then he said, we can be turkeys also with a shirt. And then they took the shirt. And then he said to him, listen, you can sit around the table like everybody else. And you and myself, we still know that we are turkeys. But we can play normal like everybody else. And Rabbi Nachman says that this was the way he healed him. And by this way, one moment, I see that I can share the screen already. This way, he healed him because he knew how to sit down under the table with him. In order to create peace, the first thing you have to do is to learn how to listen and to be able to take off your clothes and sit under the table. If there is somebody you love, and this man or woman or friend or anybody else is behaving in a different way that you were expecting, the first thing you should do is to be able to sit with him under the table, to really, really carefully, gently open your eyes and feel what he feels there. And the same goes to the leaders of the planet. We are looking forward to creating our future, creating this situation that every leader on this planet will be able to be a healer, will be able to listen, will be able to understand, will be able to be empathetic, will be able to open his heart to contain the others. And then we will not see all what we see now upon this planet. One moment, I want to see you more. So, I will go very quickly, because we don't have much time now, on this PowerPoint, just taking through sentences and words from what I wrote down. First of all, what we have to remember, that avoiding war, like many people says, is not peace. Avoiding war or trying to fight the darkness doesn't work. It didn't work ever and will not work anymore. The only way to create peace is to get out of the survival mode to the future creation mode. The only way to create peace is to get out from a passive approach and say, okay, if we don't have war, or we are fighting the war, which is the same energy, we will not create peace. There is a great law that we call the law of attraction. The law of attraction says that everything you focus on, your subconscious, and also the energy in the world, works with this, focus on this. So if you say, I don't want to be poor, your subconscious focus on poor, on poverty. But if you say, I want to be rich, your subconscious focus on rich, on being rich. So the thing is that when you are going out from the passive approach, and you go to the proactive approach, then you are in the future creation mode. You are not in the survival mode. Because if you have war on this planet, that just because you want to kill people or to be killed, this will not help at all. The thing is to focus on our desired future, on future of peace, and then to create a proactive approach how to make it happen. Now we'll go over some charts, and I will not also already teach you about the survival mode and future creation mode. I don't have some time for this, but I will quote for you a few things from this presentation. This I wrote when I was the Commissioner for Future Generations in the Israeli Parliament. And I was talking about peace and how to create a better world for our children and future generations, a sustainable world. In order to move to a new sphere that awaits us beyond the horizon, we better let go of the fractures of our past and the narrowest passageway in the world, as narrow as the eye of the needle. And precisely, as at the moment of death, we arrive there vacant and clear. In order to create peace within ourselves and then project it to the whole world, we first has to go inside and see how we can move all our body, all our attachments, all our desire through an eye of a needle. And then when we let go of all of this, then we can create peace within ourselves. And I'll quote again Einstein. I think this is an amazing thing he said. He said, the human being is a part of a whole, called by us universe. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings, as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is kind of a prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole nature in its beauty. And I will say something about desired future and a vision. Vision is a dream that flows onto reality. Vision is the choice of an individual to shape its future perception. Vision is the ability to rise above mundane concerns, above living in reaction to reality, above fear of the future, to a sphere of boldness and magic. Vision is creation, inspiration. Vision is courage. It is a future to which we aim, even when emotional turmoil around us and background noises cause havoc. Vision is a choice to create what is possible and what is perceived as impossible. Let's look forward and say, yes, world, we are ready to take a risk. We are creating a new direction and a new reality for this planet. We are creating a home where we shall be able to realize our simple personal dreams, the dreams of our planet Earth, and the dreams of generations to come. And I'll quote William Hutchinson Murray that says, the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. The whole stream of events issue from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, emitting and material assistance, which no man would have dreamt would have come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. Now, wish with a good friend of mine, Winnie the Pooh, that says, the moment you figure which foot of you is the right one, there is no doubt about the left one. So what's just left to decide is on which foot you might step first. I want to thank you very much for giving me the floor in this time. This time exactly begins my birthday, actually in Israel time 1 hour ago. And I want to thank my friends who came here and been with me in this amazing moment. We are beginning now the longest day. And the longest day is a day with the most amazing power and light. And I take this day as a present, and I would like to bless you all for a peaceful world, for a peace within us, for the ability to be connected all the time to all human beings and to all creatures upon this planet. Thank you so much. Thank you, Raja. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Frigga.
So, Shlomo, I'd like to say thank you very much for your talk. And
Thank you.
I was able to see some of the graphics that you produced. Some are very humorous. I like that quote from Einstein that you brought, you know, that everybody's in a separate bubble. And the point is that that's not true. We're all interconnected. There's a you know, a commonality of all our subjective and objective worlds. So Einstein is one of the heroes of my own work for spiritual peace, you know. So thank you for the work you're doing. And I'm also very happy to wish you a happy birthday. I think we've just about gone into your birthday. So I hope it's going to be an auspicious one for you. Now, if you want to take a few questions, you actually have up till 10 past. And so if anyone wants to ask you a question, could they please put their name in chat and then I can unmute you. So if you write, yes, hello, I'm Frigga and I want to ask a question, I'll unmute you and then you can go ahead. I can't, my problem is I'm not able to hear everybody, so I have to see it in chat, okay? If Shlomo, if you can moderate the questions, I don't think you're able to unmute people, but you can try, give it a whirl. You've got, 10 minutes for questions.
Okay, if somebody has any question, I can go on talking for hours on this, but I think it's enough for now. The energy should be focused. I don't want to dilute things. But if you have any kind of sharing and concern, maybe Sophie wants to say something, or Raja, Sean. I see Ben is telling me happy birthday. Good luck. Thank you. Bye-bye. In Israel now, it's already 1 o'clock after midnight. So I think people will go to sleep, the Israeli people. Thank you so much, all of you. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Okay, so thank you, Shlomo. Sorry, there wasn't time for questions, but there we are. So look, we have our next speaker, and this is Satyen Raja, who is speaking from Canada, and who's joined us from British Columbia. And so he has many years of experience actually as a teacher and a trainer. He's worked in all kinds of theoretical and practical work to do with conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, spiritual mastery, and so on. And we encountered each other. He's involved in setting up a wisdom council, which is a very noble and ambitious project. And I hope that, you know, it's going to flourish. We certainly need it right now with the planet in the chaos that it's in. And so, Satyen, over to you, and, you know, introduce yourself properly. And thank you for joining us. The work is being recorded. I can't hear you speaking. There's a problem with my, you know, audio and microphone. So you can hear me, but I can't hear you. But I will be able to hear the recording. So I won't be able to comment in detail, but I will hear later what you have to say. So go for it. I'm looking forward to your sharing. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much, Thomas, for your kind invitation to share today, to express what's in my heart, to invite us into a practice, which is what I'll invite everyone to do. I want to thank everyone for their openness, their intention, their willingness to be here present, whatever time zone you're in, whether you're watching live or recorded at some other time. My deepest heart embraces you, honors you, and welcomes you to this auspicious time. You know, from the yogic Hindu traditions, there are many pointers to this time being not only a time of destruction and completions of old patterns and karmic patterns, but it also points to, as these patterns play out, of the old yuga, meaning the way of our consciousness being mired down in illusion, in selfing, in egoic structures, which then create all the messes we have on this planet. The ideal, the dream, the vision these ancient wisdom keepers have shared with us is that we are coming to the end of these times where delusion, illusion, ignorance, ego, attack, one-upmanship, war, all these manifestations of separation are slowly becoming dismantled, and something new is emerging. And I'm curious to ask all of you, how many of you feel, no matter what's going on the surface of the world, which is quite tumultuous in many ways, how many also feel that there's an emergence of an energy, an emergence of a field of awakening, emergence of a field of love that is beneath all of this, that is aiming and holding and coming up in a quiet, deep, silent way? Just curious, how many people feel that in some way? Beautiful. And I believe it's up to us as wisdom keepers, peace holders, people who believe in peace, people who believe in unity, people who know the value of our unity and our oneness. I believe it's a time for us to embrace a deeper degree of the inner warrior, as well as the inner sage within us. Now, of course, we know that the old model, the antiquated models of the warrior, is one who is against, power over. I don't need to share within our group here that this is an outdated paradigm of clobbering each other. Who's got the bigger missile? Who's got the bigger penis? Who's got the bigger, better, faster, stronger, this and this? It's some form of patriarchal dominance over others. And so we know, many of us know that we are bridge builders. Many of us know that we are ones who are showing the way into another reality through our actions, through our inner process, through our demeanor, through the way we approach others, through our inclusivity in our writings, inclusivity in how we are with the shopkeeper, how we are with friends down the road, how we are with our neighbors. And so for me, I believe that our gear of the warrior now has to be awakened. We need to awaken our spiritual warrior from atrophy, from any type of apathy, from any type of non-use, and then say, what do we do with this warrior? Well, in the old days, warriors were meant to fight wars. Now we need our inner warriors, not to fight, but to embrace love, to move through the shadows, to move through the separation, and to see what is there. And when we look deep enough with the warrior's eyes, when we penetrate illusion, when we penetrate the situations of the world, which are full of fire, and we look at the root, then I'm sure we will find something magnanimous. We'll find something beautiful. We'll find something so true, it reflects back upon us, and we'll notice the very root, the very essence of the things which are causing disharmony in others are actually aspects of our very true nature. And I believe this is the path of the sage, the inner wisdom path. The inner wisdom path is to see this vitriol, this division, this tension, this antagonism that's in the outer world, but we must see it as a reflection of our inner world. I've been working on this all my life. I started in martial arts when I was a youngster. I was moved by Kung Fu. I was moved by Bruce Lee. I was moved by these ancient philosophies that said that we can have a true warrior, a heart warrior, a spiritual warrior, but who is grounded in peace, grounded in integrity, grounded in wholeness, who aims to bring peace and unity, who aims to bring people together. I started on that path, and I'm blessed to say that I've been so gifted and dearly touched and given so many profound tools and wisdoms from all my mentors all these years. And today I'm going to be sharing some very powerful practices. I'd like to share with you as I'm doing now, but even more so, I would like us all to do an inner work, to do a practice today that will take us to the next level of the sage within us, to a deeper grounding in spirit within us, and at the same time galvanize our actual practical applications, our practical work in the world to a much higher, powerful, much more potent way of change and shift. How many of you are with me today? Please say yes in the chat box. Give a wave, give a hand, give an embrace, say yes, I'm involved. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your courageous optimism and your willingness. If we don't do it, if we don't do the inner work, being the waykeepers, who is going to do it? We cannot count on our governments to create the changes. They have too many of their own inner politics. They have too many other check marks to fulfill. They have to make so many people happy. And in making so many people happy, we lose ourselves. We lose the true root of happiness. So we cannot count on our governments. We cannot count on our religious organizations to step up and do everything that needs to be done to bring wholeness and love to this world. Why? Because in this day and age, money rules, power rules, the ego rules. But I believe it all is turning. And today I'm going to invite us to a deeper level of transformation in our consciousness. So to do this, one of the things that I've come to recognize, I have a private Facebook page called Warrior Sage Community. One word, Warrior Sage Community. You're all welcome to come and be part of that community. You just have to find it on Facebook. And in that page today, what came up was a seemingly racist rant in my group. And it was very difficult for me, being of a person of color. My wife is Jamaican, meaning that she's mixed blood, has black, white, every type of nationality, if you will. So many nationalities are in her. And so our children are, if you will, multicultural. They have black, white, Spanish, Indian, Asian, you name it, all within us. So as a father, when I'm reading things that seem racist, that seem like they're putting down others, or not taking into account the pain that's happening in our black brethren and sisters and their lives, and someone dismisses it wholeheartedly. On my page, I saw people coming and attacking this individual for good reason. How can you believe this? How can you believe this? How can you not have empathy and care for George Floyd and all that's going on with Black Lives Matter? How can you be taking that intention and saying, yes, all lives matter? Yes, but what about the atrocities to other people, white people, all of these things? And so there was attack. And then this person stood up and found another counterattack to their counterattack. And I looked at this with great sadness. I felt great pain that this is happening on a page for warrior sages, for those who are here to usher peace, to usher power, to usher a potency of love and consciousness. And I came back to my source. I sat with it before I responded from heat, before I responded from the pit of fire that was in me. I took a step back and I said to myself, and this is the perennial practice. This is the timeless practice of the warrior sages of all time. And that is, what was her positive intention in her sharing? Yeah, well, what about white lives are being killed every day here and there? Black people are killing each other all the time. Why are we putting so much attention on this? And instead of jumping on her, I felt if I could just go a little bit deeper, feel a little bit more than the skin deep reactivity of her, to feel deeper than the reactivity of all the friends that stood up and said, no, this is such an off statement. At this time, you're being so insensitive to the plight of the Black nation. I felt, you know what? What if this lady, this individual, deep in her core, has a positive intention? And so I asked her on the thread, what's your positive intention? What would you like us to understand about you? What would you like us to understand about you? What would you like us to understand about you? 9 words, 9 sacred words strung together, opening the heart, feeling the heart of even someone which seems like they're oppositional, which feel like they're racist and such. Well, then she started spilling open. She started sharing what she wanted us to understand about her. And it came out that she was abused. It came out that she's had pain in her family. It came out that her family has been attacked by others, that she's been hurt and attacked. And all of a sudden, instead of fighting back and forth, on the Warrior Sage community page started this beautiful experience of co-empathy. People who were against her went, wow, well, I'm sorry to hear this. I'm sorry to hear you experience that. And we still are hurt and we still feel that you're off around this. But my goodness, the fact that you've had this so much suffering and pain in your own life, no wonder your viewpoint is coming across this way. So a miracle happened today before I came on. And it was the miracle of understanding. And it was the miracle of going through the bush, cutting through the vitriol, cutting through the fire, and feeling for the heart of another and what is their positive intent. So my friends, my fellow warriors and sages of peace, I ask us all, when we're looking at the craziness in the world, when we look at politicians which are spewing out things that seem divisive and even evil, when people are doing things that seem very off, that seem antagonistic and painful and warmongering, could it be that their ego is so wounded? Could it be that they are so dry and parched in the spiritual dimension of being? Could it be that their souls are so thirsting wholeness and oneness, but they don't know how. They have no idea. They have no imprint. They've not been taught. They have no examples in their own immediate lives. So they're acting out of this. Could it be at their core of being that they have some positive intention rooted in their own experience? My invitation, my beseeching, my heart is, instead of making more war against those that are that way, what if we take the higher road, the conscientious road, the warrior's road, and say, stop, I will not accept your abuse. I will not accept you trampling on me or my family, or trampling on us with abusive words. But in that, I will meet you eyes to eyes, soul to soul. I won't retract and unfriend you and cut you off and make wrong of you. I'm going to actually do the bigger, harder, more difficult emotional step, which is to feel what is your positive intent. What would you like me to understand about you? I believe, friends, that if we can do this more and more, that we will start to crack even the hardest souls. We will crack even the hardest, most painful hearts who are manifesting this division because they have not touched wholeness. We need to show them the wholeness of our inquisitive nature, of our inquiry to know what is your deepest positive intent in why you share this. At first, they may have even more vitriol, even more stuff. What is your deepest positive intent behind that? Blah, blah, blah. They might extol other BS. What is your deepest positive intent behind that? I trust, and I have seen time and time again, this powerful approach, which requires nobility of personal character. It requires that you ground in a centeredness of spirit. It requires that you ground in an empathy, even for our enemy, even for our seeming enemy. Now, once we go through that and we see and we find a glimmer of that positive intent in their soul, then the next step is from the sage within us. We can say, I can speak to their positive intent. I will not speak to the content that is coming through their vitriol and division. No, if I do that, it'll be back into mentalism. It'll be back into facts versus history versus history. No, that's not the way, my friends, that I have discovered. I have discovered that if we talk to what is their positive intent, the worst racist, what is their positive? They want to be seen. They want to be felt as they are also appreciated. They want to be felt not only appreciated, but they also have value in this world. If I aim to speak to that part in them, a magic happens, a transformation happens, the beginning of an alchemical process of disintegration of the ego starts to happen when I am centered in spirit. And then what I have noticed and I have seen is that there's a softening, a deepening, a yearning to be met and seen. And in fact, I truly believe the deepest yearning we all have is ultimately to come together. And if we don't know how, all these ways of division are substitutes. We haven't figured out the how. We don't know how the how, so we're substituting it with a secondary means of coping with the bullshit. This is the time, I believe, and calling upon that we go through like a laser beam. We cultivate our heart. We cultivate our eyes. We cultivate our demeanor to be laser sights for the positive intention in all beings. That's the first step. The second step is to nourish the positive intention in their hearts through recognizing, acknowledging that they have it, and then sharing our own positive intention beyond the immediate content of the division. And then when we do that, we can start to feel, wow, there's two humans here, not two viewpoints, two souls, not two forms of antagonism, but two souls that are yearning to come into the congruency of oneness, yearning to come into coherence, yearning to come into brother and sisterhood, yearning to come to love. How many of us are willing to take on this practice, this ever powerful, ever ending, never ending practice of finding the positive intent in our wives, our husbands, our friends, our family, our children, our co-workers, our politicians, our antagonists, our very enemies? How many are willing to step up now and be the transformation, be the transformation, be the transmission of peace? This is our time. So I want to thank you for listening to me, for opening and responding to my heart's call here. And now I would like us to take this to the next degree, and that is to do a deep inner practice of awakening, which will help us to know what is the deepest intent within ourselves. What is the purpose and the value and the goal of even our own discordant feelings in the greater sphere. And also to step into the eyes, the hearts, the bodies, the beingness of the very people we have antagonism with. And find out what is that highest goal. What's the highest goal in their spirit regarding that? How many of us would like to go through that? And it'll take about probably half an hour, but it'll be a very profound process, I promise you. At the end of it, you'll be in a non-dual state of consciousness. You'll be in a state of unified consciousness. You'll be in a state of profound inner peace and equilibrium and equanimity. Okay, my friends? So I would like everyone to please, if you can, if you don't have it in front of you, it's okay, but if you can, find a piece of paper, a notebook, a pen, a pencil, something that you can write down some notes as I guide you through this inner awakening practice. I'll give everyone a minute, but while we're waiting, if anyone has any shares or questions or just expressions about anything I've shared, about moving through the morass of divisive content and finding and feeling for the positive intent and speaking to each other's positive intent. If anyone has any shares regarding that, I would love to hear from you. Please put it in the chat box, or you can open up your mic and I'll be happy to receive for the next minute or two while we wait for everyone to get their pen and paper. Sophia, are you a relative of Thomas? Wonderful. I can see your name. Welcome. Wonderful. Would you be open to share what you got out of that or something that touched you from that? Yes, I'd love you to share. You would just have to unmute your video just for a moment. And then I'm going to take us into a deep practice. I must say, I very much love the environment you've created there. Such a beautiful environment of energy and light and consciousness.
Hello.
Hi, Sophia.
That was wonderful. Yes. I've also experienced a very similar thing. For me, this whole journey has been about love and about reconnecting to that space. And when you said about the alchemical, for me, like the alchemical symbols also recreate the sign of the heart chakra as well. So if you bring together all the elements that create existence, so earth, air, wind, fire, they all combine to make love, you know. And so if we think of it as it's just a uniting of everything, you know, and when you share from that space really resonates. And sorry, I'm in a bit of a tiz over here with all of my layers of things. So I just totally distracted myself. But yeah, so I just feel, yeah, completely, I feel you with all of my heart, my deepest heart, definitely. Yeah.
Thank you, Sophia. Bless you. Okay, you can feel free to put it on mute again, okay? All right. So, I know you just got up and down, so thank you for sharing. I just
no worries.
Okay, my friends. So the next step I would like us to do, we're going to do a very profound practice. And the nature of this practice is we're going to find an individual, a person, a community, a government, anything that we have some type of anger, some type of resistance with. Now, because we're in the world of peace, many of us might have already done inner processing around it. We know how to check our anger. We know how to transform it. We know how to set it aside and put our best step forward. But right now, I want you to think, are there politicians you don't like? Are there groups of people that you're against or feel bad against, like racists? Or is there, you know, military industrial complex, whatever? If I want you to find someone, it could be personal in your own life, someone you have antagonism with, someone that you're not feeling peace with, an ex-partner, an ex-lover. It could be micro, personal to yourself. It could be macro. However it is, I want you to find someone that upsets you, someone or something or some group that causes you a lot of negative charge. And then once you have found that person or that individual or that group, I want you to write down at the top of your page, I am upset at, I'm angry at, I'm pissed off at, I want to kill them, whatever strong emotion is there or milder emotion, but find something that causes you upset, causes you tension, and write it down in a short, concise sentence. I'm upset at those racists who knock down Black Lives Matter and don't appreciate all that's happening in the movement and dismiss it. That's an example of my personal one. So I'm going to write that down. I'm angry at racists. Now, please don't assuage this or make yourself more gentle or remove yourself. I would like you to go into the feeling. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get in touch with this anger, this upset, this oppositional force. And then I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Once you've closed your eyes, then I'm going to say, I want you to get in touch with where you feel this most strongly in your body, whether it's in your head, your heart, your chest, wherever. And then I would like you to give that anger, that upset, qualities from your imagination. How big is it? What shape it is? What size it is? I'll prompt you all the way through. Just trust your imagination. Don't over mentalize or think about it too much. Trust the first thing that arises in your consciousness. Then I'm going to get you to speak to this aspect which you've given form inside yourself. I'm going to get you to speak to it as an aspect of your totality. And I'm going to ask you to ask it what its goal is for you. What does this aspect want you to achieve, to realize, to attain? When you ask your aspect this, it's going to answer from within. An emotion, a feeling, a thought. The first very thing that comes up, write it down at the bottom of your page. Then I'll tell you the next steps, the next steps, the next steps. Ultimately, we're going to be walking up a stairway to heaven from discord, anger, separation, all of those intense, strong feelings. Ultimately, this will bloom into unity consciousness. All right. Once we've done that, then we're going to shift positions. This is the most difficult part. I'm going to ask us to go beyond even empathy and embody the very individual or group that we've got a problem with. So I'm going to embody being this one racist or being the group of racists. And I'm going to ask you to totally feel what it's like to be in them. Then I'm going to guide you to the next steps. Instead of anger, upset, vitriol, and lack of peace, what would you rather have? Write that down. I would rather have peace. I would rather have tranquility. I would rather have a sense of letting go. I'm over it. Those of you who'd like to share in the chat box, instead of your upset, please share. What would you like to have instead? What is the emotion, the feeling? Very good. Thank you. Okay, let us give ourselves a namaste, an honoring of ourselves. We're going to go into the depth of awakening now. So call upon yourself to enter a temple of transformation, of alchemical transformation and awakening. All right, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths in and out. And I want you to recall the last time you felt upset at either this individual or group. It could be today, it could be a fresh wound, it could be for weeks, it could be there chronically for years. I want you to see what you saw then, hear what you heard then, feel what you felt then, and go deep into the feeling of the upset. And on purpose, magnify it, make it stronger, exaggerate it. The more you exaggerate it, the more powerful we will have an experience. Very good. Very good. Now, where does this upset and anger show up most in your body? Please make a note of it. Head, face, body. You can even jot that down. And what's the shape of this aspect of yourself? Give it a shape. You can do this, you can jot it down, or you can simply just remember it in your own being. Just be aware of it, whatever you feel. How big is this feeling? Give it a shape and a size. How big is it? Trust your intuition. Let go of logic. It can be huge. What color is this? What color is this aspect within you? Give it a size, give it a color, write it down. How heavy does it feel? Give it actual weight, kilograms, pounds. How heavy does it weigh? And the last question is, how powerful is this over your life on a scale of 1 to 10? 1, not so much. 10, it's very powerful and grips your life. Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. Now, the next step. Turn inward to this aspect and say aspect. You can say this internally to yourself. You can whisper it or you can say it out loud. Aspect. I know you wish me well because you're a part of me. What goal do you have for me with this manifestation? What do you wish for me to realize, to attain, to experience? Aspect. I know you wish me well because you're a part of me. What goal do you want me to realize, to attain, to achieve? Now open wide up inside, and whatever the aspect says, the first thing it says, write it down at the bottom of your page. Those of you who wish, you can also put it in the chat box. Write it down at the bottom of your page. Once you've done that, give a bit of a wave so I know you've done that. Very good. Very good. Now, join your aspect as a team inside your consciousness, as a team inside your consciousness, and create the goal, this aspect's goal, as fully realized, fully attained, not 90% or 99%, but fully 100% attain that goal, as if it's fully realized in this lifetime. What would that feel like? How would you be breathing? What would your emotional and physiological demeanor show and experience and magnify? Now stabilize in this goal as absolutely realized. And celebrate the achievement of this goal at a soul level of being. Now turn to your aspect again and say, now that we have achieved this goal, whatever your previous goal was, what goal is even higher, more important, more spiritual, The first thing that comes up, my friends, write it down above the last goal. Write it down above the last goal. And then thank your aspect within for its reply. Now immediately join your aspect as a team inside your consciousness and create this new higher goal as fully realized, fully attained, fully made manifest. Again, not 90% or 99%, but get to 100% of that goal being achieved. However you imagine it, however you feel it or embody it, and ground in that. Very good. Start stabilizing in this new higher goal being fully realized, fully attained, fully achieved. And thank your aspect. And celebrate at a soul level this goal being achieved. Very good. Now turn to your aspect again within. We're going to continue up the stairway to heaven and say, now that we've achieved this goal the way you want it, what goal do you have for me that is even higher, even more spiritual, even more important? And the first thing that comes out, write it down above your last goal. Whatever your aspect says, thank it. Make sure it's a higher goal, not one parallel or lower. Make sure it's a higher, more noble, more spiritual goal. And whatever it is, write it down. And now join your aspect as a team inside your imagination and create this new higher goal as absolutely realized, absolutely attained, absolutely achieved. And ground in this stabilized new state. Expand this feeling dimension infinitely in all directions. Very good. Stabilize and expand. Now that we've achieved that goal, turn to your aspect again and say, now that we've achieved this last goal, whatever it is, you know what that is. What goal is even higher, more divine, more spiritual, even more important? And open up from within. And the first thing that arises from your soul, write it down above the last goal. Once you've written it down above the last goal, thank your aspect for its reply within. And immediately, my friends, join your aspect as a team once again in your consciousness and create the new higher goal as absolutely realized and attained and achieved. And when you've done so, breathe this achieved attainment. Let it course through your body-mind. Let your breath and your posture reflect this higher level of integrating this goal, achieving this goal. Now, some of you, there's no higher goal that has come up. If that's the case, I want you to enter the nothingness that's higher than your last goal. Enter this primordial void that's higher than your last goal and merge and melt and combine and dissolve and become one with that infinite void, that infinite divine emptiness. Some of you still have more to go, so let's turn to your aspect again within your consciousness and say, now that we've achieved this last goal, what goal do you have for me that is even higher, even more spiritual, even more important? And the very first thing that arises, my friends, write it down above your last goal. And then immediately achieve it fully. Create this new goal as a team with your aspect, inside your imagination, inside your being. Create this new higher goal or highest goal as absolutely attained, and stabilize in that, own that, ground in that, claim that attainment. And exude and transmit this infinitely in front of you, behind you, to the sides of you, above you, below you. Very good. What would you call this state of being you're in right now? Give it a name. Samadhi, nirvana, divine love. Give it some name that represents what it is. And then write that down above your last goal, and then make a big circle around it. And know that this is the essence of your being. You're now touching the essence of who you are. Let the essence of who you are, whatever you call this, divine love as an example that I'm using, extend and radiate divine love in front of you, to the sides of you, behind you, above you, below you, infinitely in all directions. And know this is the essence of who you are. Knowing that this is the essence of who you are. Now, look at all the previous goals, step by step, as you go down this ladder. And knowing that you are, let's say, divine love as an example, how does that affect or alter or change or transmute each and every one of the previous goals? Take a look at your page if you need to. Knowing that you are that, you are this, how does that affect all the previous goals? And now, how does that affect the original problem we had? I am angry with, I am upset with, I don't like, I dislike, I hate, I'm fed up with, I'm tired. How does it affect that original contracture? How many of you it doesn't mean so much anymore? It's not as powerful. How many of you recognize it's dissolved totally out of your space, this problem that you have? Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are the peace. The peace transmutes. Now, I'd like everyone to touch their chest. This is going to be very interesting. In a moment, I want you to release who you are and become your enemy. Become that person that you dislike, or that group that you have charge against. For me, I'm going to be this racist individual. I am no longer Satyen, I'm this individual. I want you to say, I'm no longer who I am, and I am this group, or I'm this individual. And then embody them. Be them. And now I'm going to speak to that one. You step out of the way. You go way into the hyper zone, the void. Bring this other individual or group forward. Group or individual, thank you for being here today. What is the problem you have with, in this case, Satyen? In your case, it could be with yourself. What is the problem you have? What's the upset you have? Now write that down as an individual or a group. People don't trust us. We're the ones getting harmed. Write down what your problem is. Being in the shoes of your antagonist. What's their problem? Now, I'm going to say antagonist to give a general name. Antagonist. Now, thank you for being here. I want you to get in touch with your upset in your body. Where do you feel it? No one needs to write anything down. Where do you feel this most in your body, antagonist? What's the shape of this problem inside of you? You can just voice it. How big is it? What color is it? How heavy is it? How powerful is this over your life? Very good, antagonist. Remain in that position. Now, antagonist, turn to your aspect within. This is an aspect. And say, what goal do you have for me with this manifestation? What do you wish for me to realize and achieve? The first thing your aspect says, thank it. If you wish, you may write it down. And now join your aspect as a team inside your being and create this goal, antagonist, as absolutely realized, whether it's understanding, acceptance, love, whatever it is, power, achieve it fully inside your being. Very good. We're going to do this a little quicker now. Stabilize in this state, antagonist. And now turn to your aspect again and say, now that we've achieved that goal, what goal is even higher, more important, more spiritual? Whatever arises from inside, antagonist, go ahead and create this new goal within with your aspect. Achieve it fully and stabilize in that goal being achieved. Very good. Remain as the antagonist. Make sure you don't allow yourself to get in there, friends. Now turn to your aspect again, antagonist, and say, now that we've achieved this goal, is there a goal even higher, more spiritual, more awakened, more divine? Whatever it is, recognize it. Thank your aspect for sharing what it is. And now within, join your aspect as a team and achieve this new higher goal is absolutely realized and attained. Excellent inner work, my friends. Let's persist. We're almost complete. Antagonist, remain as the antagonist. Turn to your aspect again and say, now that we've achieved that last goal, is there a goal even higher, the most high, the most important, the most spiritual? And whatever emerges from within, thank your aspect and join it as a team inside yourself and create this highest goal as absolutely realized. Very good. Expand this state infinitely in front of you, behind you, to the sides of you, above you, below you. And knowing that this is your higher nature, how does that affect all the previous goals, antagonist, that you had all the way to the root? Very good. You have gone through a transmutation, an alchemical awakening. Now go in peace, antagonist. You're not that anymore. So within our soul, friends, thank your previous tension-filled relationship or individual or group. Offer them your highest peace and honor. Give them your highest forgiveness and love. And in your heart of hearts, say, I'm no longer them. They are themselves. I am me. And then share your name. I am Satyen. And then set them free with love. I set you free. And now for the last few moments, sit in a spacious, open space and call upon the light of peace, the light of the divine, the light of the goddess to pour down upon us with divine light, filling up all the voids in our space that have been transmuted, filling us up with divine sacred love light. Receive it in and breathe it in. And then when you feel filled with divine light, let it radiate in all directions so that all beings can be touched in all quadrants, all sectors of this planet, every corner. And honor yourself now for your own journey from separation into oneness. And honor all our family, world family now, in this wonderful gathering. Thank you. Take a few deep breaths in and out. And when you're ready, come to unified presence. And let us give each other our highest joyful, peace-filled honoring as divine beings with choice. Blessings, dearest friends. We have a couple of minutes. If there's any shares, comments, or questions, you may put them, please, in the chat box or open up your microphone and mute and express directly or ask a question. Then let us sit and transmit profound peace. Let us be that example and demonstration. Let us practice feeling into the hearts of ourselves, those we love, and also to feel and to embody what's it like to be in the lives and the hearts of those we feel or see could be against us. And know that they too, within themselves, have a highest destiny. Let us support the destiny of the all to the full remembrance of who we are as love itself, as freedom itself. Aho.
Right. So Satyen, thank you so much for your speech and for sharing those exercises and so on with everyone. I think everyone will have had a wonderful experience. I've obviously spoken to you before. I know a little about it. I'll be able to watch the whole thing on the recording. It's very weird, this, people. You know, I'm sitting in the dark, like outside the party. I can't either see you or hear you. So what I'm going to suggest now, in fact, is that we take a break. We're going to stop at midnight anyway, when Satyen's finished. And I mean, if you want to field a few questions before we shut down, but I'm going to shut down, you know, kind of soon, and then have like a 15-minute break. We have our next speaker isn't till 1 o'clock, who is Joy Angelform in the New Forest. So we have an hour for discussions and so on. So I'm going to say let's have 15-minute break. I'm going to shut down and reboot the system, so you'll have to rejoin. You know, and hopefully I'll be able to actually participate and we can have a discussion. And then we have Henk Vis talking afterwards from Avebury, who is with us. So, you know, welcome, Henk. So I hope people come back, and other people obviously are going to join through the night. And we're showing some films earlier in the middle of the night. And then, of course, the sunrise comes up very early. So, yeah. And then we have some, you know, more speakers in the morning, etc. So I'm going to be at this all night. I hope some of you will stay awake and join me. Does anyone want to ask a question to Satyen? Because if so, just put your microphone on and fire away. I think you don't need me to do that. I think you can unmicrophone yourself, unmute yourself.
All my love, everyone. I wish you all well. Thank you so much for your full participation. And now it's time, as we complete this and we continue in this festival of awakening and peace, it's time that we be that conduit for everyone. So much love, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, people, I think, so I think what we're going to do is have a little break now for 15 minutes. I'm going to shut the thing down. And those of you that are still got some energy, you know, come back. The solstice night is still young, but go off and get a coffee and have a chill. And I'll reboot it in about 15 minutes or so. And we can have a discussion, and then it's going to be Henk's talk. Right, thank you so much for coming, and this first half was great.